So I've got a question over here from Dana. Is community direct zip code or the city like Orlando? I would say smaller zip code. Yep. I don't think it hurts to talk about like what's happening in the larger community, but if like the more relevant you are, the more likely that people will listen to you. Okay. So relevance is critical. So if you can be uber relevant and you know where these people are, for example, if it's like within a certain zip code, then yes, focus on the zip code. Okay. And my guess is you'd probably like your clients to be within a couple zip codes or two, at least when you're starting off, so that you can actually service those people at a high level and not be driving all over town, right? Looks like we've got some people joining in. What's up, everybody? Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. For those that are just coming in, would you go ahead and put inside the chat, tell us where you're coming from. I'd love to get kind of a bit of a poll and know to what part of the country we are speaking to. It looks like we're now live streaming as well. So to everybody, whether you're watching this on Facebook or whether you're here inside of Zoom with us, we're very grateful that you're here. I've invited everybody that's coming in to go ahead and put in the chat where you're coming from. I see Boston. Thanks, Faith. Welcome. Ventura, California. Love it, Jake. Keep putting it in, guys. We'd love to hear where you're coming from, what your marketplace is. Let's hear it. Toledo, Ohio. Awesome. Welcome, Jackie. Thanks for being here. Guys, today's episode, today's broadcast is going to be how do we find people who are motivated to buy and sell now, right? I think we're probably all very tired of hearing people say, you know what, I'm just going to wait until next year. There's a lot going on. I'll wait till next year. Now, that's something that we see seasonally anyway, but it's even more so now, right? There's been such an adjustment in rates so quickly that many people are like, yikes, I don't know if I'm ready to buy. I don't know if I'm ready to sell in this market. So today, that's what we're going to be talking about. Yeah, let's just, as you're coming in the door here, again, just tell us where you're from. I see Longview, Texas. Good stuff, guys. Thanks for participating. You know, this is what I've found when I'm on webinars. I can be ineffectively doing three things at once and really get nothing out of any of them. And so I would just encourage you, the stuff I'm going to share with you today really has the ability to impact your business in a significant way if you really tune in. I've been a part of webinars that really could have benefited me, but I was busy doing something else simultaneously, and I missed some of the key nuggets. So just encourage you today that I've really prepared for 2 decades to deliver this info to you. It's really very near and dear to me as far as what we're going to see today. It's come through lots of trial and error, through lots of work and practice. And it really has the ability to impact your business in a significant way. I'm helping a lot of other people right now to have success with what I'm going to share with you today. Super excited you're here. We just encourage you to be very interactive, ask questions as we go along, pretend that we're in a conference room together. And I promise you'll have a much better experience than if this is just kind of passively going in the background. Either way, we're glad you're here. But again, if you want to get the most out of it, those are the best practices. So I'm out of the Portland, Oregon market. Again, I see a few more people joining in here. Again, if you're just joining us, please tell us where you're coming from. And Dana out of Orlando, Florida, welcome. Super glad you're here as well. Guys, I'm excited to be here. Let's dive in. I'm going to be sharing my screen for part of this to where you will have the ability to kind of see more of what I'm going to be kind of talking about here, right? So more and better referrals to the motivated, right? That's what we're here to talk about today. So I'm going to be sharing some kind of basic principles of having a referral-based business, but I'm also going to be sharing at the same time, I'm also going to be sharing kind of some advanced techniques that are really going to help you to go find people that really don't have the luxury of saying, I'm going to wait till next year. So welcome to those that are just coming here. Super glad that you're here, guys. Welcome, welcome. Okay, let's dive in. Let me just start with this kind of premise. I believe, at least everybody that I've spoken with in our industry, if I said, what if I were to give you a list of 100 people and you go call them cold and try and turn them into a lead or a referral, or a lead rather, somebody who's a viable prospect, or just have somebody call you and say, look, I was referred to you by my financial advisor. He says, I absolutely should talk to you. Do you have time to meet with me and my wife? My guess is we take that second approach all day long, right? there's no doubt that referrals are better than cold leads, right? The reason then, why, let me just ask this question. Why would we ever do anything different? Why would we ever do anything different than just work with warm referrals, right? Like if they're so much better, why don't we just do that, right? Right. The problem is, right, is that we run out of them before we reach our goals, right? And this probably resonates with you guys, that up here is where our goals are at, okay? And oftentimes our warm referrals turn off about here. Can anybody relate to that? Just put a 1 in the chat here if you're like, yes, I can relate to that. I've got big goals. My referrals get me kind of like part of the way there, but they don't get me all the way there. Again, if that resonates with you, I want to be sure I'm talking to the right audience. Just type number 1 in the chat. Okay, great. Dan, thank you, Faith. Okay, great. Appreciate that. Anybody else? Just a couple people, or is everybody, can you relate to this? If you can relate to your warm referrals turning off before you get to your big goals, put 1 in the chat. Okay. All right, guys. So in other words, we have a gap here, right? And oftentimes we're faced, I guess all the time, we're faced with this question here, right? Which is, what do? Do I lower my goals or do I pursue cold leads? You're like, well, definitely don't want to lower my goals. That's not me, right? I don't want to be that person. Cold leads are not my favorite, but if that's what I have to do to support my family, I will do it, right? Maybe some of you can relate to that, okay? But what if neither of those are our favorite, right? What if we just want to work with warm referrals and we want to reach our biggest goals, right? Our biggest goals with warm referrals. Wouldn't that be a better scenario? Well, how do we do that, right? Part of what I'm going to share around answering that same question of getting to that same answer is going to also give us the ability to work with motivated buyers and sellers, people who don't have the luxury to say, I'm going to wait until next year. Now, to give you a little bit of sneak preview of where I'm going with this, right? And we're going to delve much deeper into this. But I'm going to build a foundation. But here's where we're headed, is that most people who are not being forced to buy or forced to sell have the ability to say, you know what? I'm going to wait until interest rates kind of settle down. I'm going to wait and kind of see what happens with pricing, right? Anybody who has that luxury is saying that. There is an entire list of people who do not have that luxury, right? Whether they just went through a divorce, whether they're relocating, whether they just had somebody pass away, whether they, whatever, right? There's an entire list of things that we're going to go through together that's going to guide you to a group of people who don't have the luxury of saying, I'm going to wait until things calm down a little bit or things stabilize a little bit. They just don't. Their life circumstances created a situation such that they don't have that luxury. So today I'm going to teach you how to find those people, how to find, more importantly, the people, the professionals that can refer you those people all day long. Why? Because they work with them all day long. Because of their profession, they work with those people all day long. Okay. So that's where we're going with this. So kind of stay tuned. Let me give a little bit of background on me, who I am. My name is Justin Stoddart. I own a company called Think Bigger. We are a coaching and consulting company. Okay. Specifically for those that have no idea who I am, where I come from, I was a high-end home builder. I'll talk about that here in just a second. Kind of coaching plus, what that means is we offer group coaching, one-on-one coaching, plus the leverage to implement, just so you kind of have some background on where I'm coming from. I work with dozens and dozens of real estate agents, dozens and dozens of actually title reps. So I have coached 2 groups of people. That's my background, where I'm coming from. Outside of this, again, I had a high-end home building company for almost a decade. And I now work all day, every day together with real estate agents, helping them to get their, kind of get unstuck, get to that next level in their business. As I mentioned, I was a high-end home builder, and many of the principles that I uncovered happened over the course of that decade that I'm going to share with you today. Of how was I at the age of 25 years old able to go in and compete against and oftentimes win against the biggest custom home builders in the industry? It's because I had a unique formula, some secrets on how to get to those people that could refer me all the time. And I'll share that here in just a little bit. I also have a podcast called Think Bigger Real Estate, and authored a book called The Upstream Model. And in both of those platforms, I should say, I have the ability and regularly teach people how to scale a warm market business. For those that want to see what a family that's scaled looks like, this is what it looks like. This is my wife and our 6 children and little golden doodle you can see down by our feet. So anyway, love these people. They're my favorite people on earth, and they mean everything to me. So this is my crew. Love them to death. Yes, there are 6 of them if you're trying to count. That was a recent picture of us. So that's a pretty recent pic. Now, if you're really interested in this topic and you'd like to learn more about it, all of these slides, right? I'm actually, I have ready to go. So if you're interested in getting them, just find me on Instagram. Now, don't get lost on Instagram. Come back, right? But find me on Instagram at Justin Stoddart, Stoddart, and just DM me the word slides. I'll get your email address from there. And then I'll email you the slides. So you'll have all of these, right? I know it's oftentimes, especially when I'm talking fast, I'm trying to get through a lot of content in a hurry. There's things that you're probably going to want to catch and you might miss them. So just know that I have this all kind of prepared for you to where this can be a really enjoyable experience for you. Again, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. All right. Now, what I want to talk about first and foremost is a foundation upon which you can build a referral business that scales. Because again, our entire focus today is how do I get referrals to the motivated? Okay. There's some things that I want you to know that you need to have in place, or that I should say best practices you have in place. Now, our team, we help people not just to learn about this, but to actually do it in their business. We work together with you to help you to do that. But here's a couple of key steps, and I'm going to run through these quickly so we have more time to spend on kind of the topic of today. But here's some foundational referral systems that if you're maybe transitioning away from cold market, maybe you have focused on cold leads, or maybe you're like, you know what, I don't get very many referrals. There must be something off. These are some things that you can do. Now, if you're wondering, like, I don't know if I'm getting enough referrals, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Let me share with you some statistics. Is that statistically speaking, 10% of your database every year should convert into a piece of business. So in other words, if you had 100 people in your database, what's the math? 100 times 10% would be 10 deals, okay? So if you could think about your database where you keep your contacts, how many are in there? Now, the distinguishing factor here is that these are relationships. You might have 1,200 people in a database, but like 1,100 of them are cold leads you've never really spoken with. They don't know you, you don't know them. Only count the 100. Only count the people who you actually have a two-way relationship with, okay? So 10% times 100 would be 10 deals. Now, if 10 deals is enough for you, now you know the formula. Go build a database of 100 people, love on them at a high level, and there's 10 deals you ought to get from that, okay? Now, if 10 deals is not enough, and for most of us, I would say probably I would encourage everybody that should not be enough, right? By the time you pay your taxes, by the time you pay yourself in the future, right? In the form of investments, by the time you pay for expenses, 10's not enough, right? I think we'd all agree with that. Now, but who am I to say? It's your business, okay? But anyway, you can insert any number here. Now, if you're not getting this amount, right? If that's not a reality, if you're like, Justin, I've got 250 people in my database and I'm only getting 5 referrals. Okay, now let's do the math on that, okay? So let's say we have 250 people in our database. So we're gonna go 10% times 250. That should equal 25. And if you're saying, Justin, I'm only getting 5. Okay, you'll take that 5 out. You're missing 20 pieces of business. And let's say each of those is worth 10K, right? That's worth $200,000 a year. So what I'm gonna share with you here in just a minute is a $200,000 problem. Okay. Now that should be like a wake up call of being like, oh my goodness, I've been kind of DIYing this stuff, kind of trying to haphazardly put together emails and some social media stuff and to save a few bucks, right? When in reality, the biggest expense in your business is the opportunity cost of not having these things in place. So again, everything we're talking about right now is the foundation of a good, strong referral business. Okay. Now I'm going to run through these, because these 5 areas are ways that should create a kind of a watertight 10%. Like you ought to be able to count on 10% if you do these things really well. Okay. And then we're going to move to how do you position your business to where these foundations are in place. And then you can begin focusing your attention on key strategic partners that refer you to the motivated all the time. Okay. So moving forward, own their data. What do I mean by that? Right. I'm going to go through these 5 steps here. Own their data simply means you have their contact information inside of a holding place. Okay. Now, what do I mean by their contact information? At minimum, you need their name and their email at minimum, right? Even better is phone and mailing address, right? To me, this right here is, if you have these things, you're in pretty good shape. Now you can add in some other fun stuff of like birthdays and house anniversaries and all that stuff, right? Like all that stuff will only help you. But at minimum, you need to own the data. Now, if you don't have this, in fact, for everybody's listening here today, that's like, okay, Justin, I've got all these contacts on social media. How do I get their other info? I've actually created some. I didn't think about this before, but I will also, if you reach out to me on Instagram, I'll send you a link to a Google form that allows you to take a link and send it to people on social media and convert those people into your database. Okay. It's something I created that I think will really help you. Okay. So these, but you need to, at minimum, get these: name, email, phone, and their mailing address. Okay. So own their data, and this ought to be a mission of yours. And there's tactful ways to get this information that feels like it's of benefit to the client, right? Which is exactly what we want. Okay. Number 1, own their data. Number 2, own their inbox. You need to have a presence in their inbox, right? Marketing is email marketing is the GOAT. It's the greatest of all time, right? So when social mediums are changing their algorithms, they're shadow banning, they don't like what you say, so they're going to like reduce and remove followers. There's all kinds of funky business that happens with social media giants, right? We love them. That's how we're connecting here today, many of us. But the reality is it's not as dependable as having someone's email, especially when you do email right. So what does email look like? Many times people think that they need to be like only sending like 1 email a month. I'm telling you, it's not enough, guys. On average, people get 100 emails a day times 30 days. That's 3,000 emails a month. And if you're one of 3,000, how memorable are you, right? Especially when maybe that email is like not even your voice. It's not even your personality. It's not your, doesn't like, guys, we can do better. Now you might be saying, I don't know how to do better. Okay. I'm going to give you a few tips. If I can help you with this afterwards, I'm happy to even hop on a 15-minute call with you and help you get unstuck when it comes to email. But there's some very important things that gets it to where people are opening your emails. And when they read your email, it feels like they're hearing from you, their trusted advisor. Okay. This isn't something that you want to outsource. I'm just telling you, right? I wouldn't outsource it because people will treat it like spam. They'll treat it like junk mail. Whereas if it's your voice, your personality, your unique flavor on something that matters to them, then the chances of people opening that and reading it are really good. But you need to have at least 2 emails per month. That's still not enough, right? But at least it's a start, right? 1 about market and 1 about community. Okay. Just book it on your calendar. The 1st and the 15th, you're going to give people an update on what's happening in the market, what's happening in the community. Okay. At minimum, this is the minimum thing that you should be sending out. Okay. Now there's some advanced stuff that have been taught to me by some mentors that have been highly tested. But that's maybe more advanced for our conversation today, but at minimum, you need to be doing this. You should have an open rate of at least 30%, right? In other words, 3 out of 10 people are opening your email. Okay. These are just some metrics that I shoot for to really know that you're gaining mind share. You're actually not only owning the inbox, but you're owning a space in their mind, which is awesome. Okay. So this is, again, own their inbox. Having these systems in place will help you then move to the next level of partnering with strategic partners that can refer you to the motivated. Okay. Own the relationship outside of emailing people a couple times a month at minimum, right? I would say quarterly, you need some sort of personal contact, voice to voice, face to face, Zoom to Zoom, right? Knee to knee, like voice, like text to text at minimum, right? But just think of these are ways that you can actually build a relationship with other people. Okay. Own their wealth. What do I mean by this? I mean an annual wealth review. Okay. Like at least once a year to your top X number of people, you're reaching out to them. You're doing a recorded video with their CMA in the background, and you're giving them insight as to what's changed with their real estate market. You guys, if you can commit to doing 1 CMA a day, I'm telling you, it'll change your life. We help our clients do that, and it changes their business in a hurry. So own their wealth by actually giving them an annual wealth review centered around their real estate portfolio. Okay. Simply a CMA, fancy way of saying an unsolicited CMA to people in your database. Okay. Now, step 5 is own their conversations. In other words, when they bring up the word real estate, they also bring up you, right? You're in their conversations without you being present. In other words, you teach them how to refer you. It's not like, oh, here's a stack of my cards, please pass them out because people won't call you, right? It's every time they hear the word real estate, they call you and say, hey, my friend just talked about real estate. Can I make an introduction? And it's that simple. Okay. It's just simply training your people how to refer you. All right. Now let's get into the bonus stuff. And I know many of you came here for today, but I had to build the foundation, because if you just jump straight to the bonus stuff, you'll start getting referrals from these strategic partners, and you won't have any systems to be able to nurture those. So I share those things in place. I share those previous 5 steps with you so that you actually have the ability to now go spend your time, because once these things are systematized, you can now have time to go build strategic partnerships that refer you all the time. Okay. So I've got a question over here from Dana. Is community direct zip code or the city like Orlando? I would say smaller zip code. Yep. I don't think it hurts to talk about like what's happening in the larger community, but if like the more relevant you are, the more likely that people will listen to you. Okay. So relevance is critical. So if you can be uber relevant and you know where these people are, for example, if it's like within a certain zip code, then yes, focus on the zip code. Okay. And my guess is you'd probably like your clients to be within a couple zip codes or 2, at least when you're starting off, so that you can actually service those people at a high level and not be driving all over town, right? Okay. Now let's get into this. I want to go back to something here really quickly. What I shared previously was 10%, right? Let's see here. Let's go blue. Okay. So 10% of your database will convert into a deal every year if done right. Now, I'm going to put a caveat in there, is that because this year's interest rates have jumped so quickly, it's kind of like this analogy. Imagine that you're flying along in an airplane and the pilot says, we're coming upon some turbulence. Why don't you return to your seat and buckle up? Everybody has a chance to like get ready for the turbulence. That's a normal market up and flow, right? Ebb and flow. What happened this year is very similar to all of a sudden, if you've ever been on a flight that's been this way, I haven't, but I've talked to people who have, where all of a sudden the plane drops 100 feet and people's heads are literally hitting the ceiling, right? It's these pockets in the air that pilots, aren't aware of. And all of a sudden, like everybody is like head hit the ceiling. And there's kind of panic, right? For just a minute till the plane stabilizes again. That's similar to what's happened this year. Sellers are all of a sudden like, what? My home is worth how much lower? And buyers are like, what? My buying power went down to what? Right? And there's this time of like, oh my goodness, my head hurts because it just hit the ceiling. I need to just like settle in here for a little bit. Now the plane will stabilize, right? Our current market will stabilize, guys. It will. Okay. It just takes a little bit of time for buyers and sellers to get back to where they can see eye to eye. Okay. So at a time like this, a database that normally produces at 5% might actually be producing, at 10% might actually producing closer to 5%, right? Is the reality, is that fewer of those people who would normally be buying or selling are a little bit paralyzed. Their head's a little sore because it just hit the roof of the plane because things drop so quickly. Right? Meaning property values or whatever, right? Like things they just adjusted so quickly. They're like, oh my goodness, that's painful. I need a minute here. Just give me a minute, right? So even though we want to put those foundations in place, because over time, those like this number will be true. Okay. This number will be true over time. But what about right now, right? Like right now, like the reality is it's kind of right here. Okay. And so how do we solve around that? Here's what I want you to think of. Instead of thinking of a database as converting at 10%, in other words, 10 out of 100 are going to do something this year, or refer me to somebody who's doing something this year. 10 out of 100. Okay. I want you to think of, instead of having to go find 10 friends to find one deal, right? Instead of having to go find 10 friends, I want you to think of one friend or one partner who can get you to 10 deals. Okay. This equation up here is go find 10 people to get me to one deal, right? At 10%. And this year it's even less than that because of this, but I'm going to ignore this for right now. Okay. To not confuse you. Okay. In any traditional year, 10%, in other words, 10 people to get you to one deal. Okay. But what if you could have one person that got you to 10 deals? Wouldn't that be better? Wouldn't that be a better scenario? Right? Like, what do you mean, Justin? What is this, like a magician? I don't understand. How do you find one person who refers you 10 deals? Okay. That's exactly what I talk about in this, but I'm going to give you the Cliff's Notes today, right? Is that there are professionals in our industry, or I'm sorry, just outside of our industry, who all day, every day are dealing with their clients. Okay. And their clients are, right? Their clients are going to be needing a real estate agent next. And because they're not dealing with just the average person who maybe will sell every 10 years or 5 years, they're dealing with people who tomorrow or this week or next week are going to be needing a real estate agent, right? And I'm going to hone in on those professionals who specifically are dealing with people who have to buy, have to sell. Okay. Here's what I mean by that. Okay. Let's look at this. Think about people who have gone through a divorce, right? That's irreparable. Like they just want to get their money and get out. Okay. People who just lost a loved one. Okay. And like they have to sell the house. Okay. What about people that just had a new baby and they can't fit anymore? Like they just can't fit in that house anymore. Okay. What about people that just got married and they're combining a household? They're actually moving into one household. Okay. Departed. This was the best way for me to say, like, relocated, like they departed a previous city and now they're moving. They left their home behind. They're moving to your city. Okay. Departed, right? Or they're departing. Maybe they're selling and moving to a new city. They don't have the luxury of waiting necessarily. Okay. Like they went through something devastating, right? Maybe like a bankruptcy. Okay. Or they're just downsizing. There's a lot of people right now who are downsizing, and interest rates doesn't really matter. They're moving into a senior care facility. They're moving in with family. Like there's just a number of different ways that people are less affected by this market, or they don't have the luxury to be choosy. Okay. Now, who are the professionals, right? I apologize about my bad handwriting, but let's kind of work through this together, right? So divorce, we have attorneys. Okay. We have attorneys and mediators. Death, we have probate, trust, right? Diapers. Well, we have people who deal with new babies, right? Midwives, right? Think about these people, and the work that they do is a precursor to people needing to have a household change, right? To have some change in their real estate, right? Diamonds, like it could be wedding planners. Departed, right? Oftentimes people will be searching on YouTube because they're moving to a new city, right? Or large corporations, businesses who are moving out of an area. Okay. What about like going through devastating times, bankruptcy, trustees, okay, conservators, okay, going through difficult things. Can't remember what that one was. Downsizing, right? Retirement homes, senior planning, okay, financial advisors, CPAs. All of these people, you guys, are dealing with the motivated. Not all their clients, but some of their clients, they are dealing with the motivated. Okay. Think about that for a minute. They're dealing with the motivated. So at a time, again, where we have people who are saying, who have the luxury of saying, you know what, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until next year. I'm going to wait until 2024. I just want to hold off. I'm telling you guys, you've heard the phrase before, is that it's much easier to go find a motivated person than to motivate somebody. Many of you have heard that phrase before when it comes to, teammates, right? You've got teammates who are like, I oftentimes will hear team leaders, they'll say, Justin, how do I motivate my people? And I ask a little bit and I say, tell me about what you've done. Tell me. And if it's like they've made like a lot of effort and it's not working, at some point you just have to say, I don't have time to motivate people. I just need to go find motivated people, right? I'm not going to motivate them. I just want to find them already motivated. Okay, so the same principle is true when it comes to buyers and sellers. We can try and take somebody who doesn't have to buy, doesn't have to sell. We can spend all of our time trying to convince them that this is a great time to sell. This is a great time to buy, right? We see this all the time. People like, now's a great time to buy. Now's a great time to sell. Is it? We don't know, right? Maybe for that particular person. Nothing against agents who do that. We've all done it, right? And it's true oftentimes. Yet at some point we have to say, like, are people listening to me? Am I actually motivating them and educating them to make a good decision? Sometimes people just, they won't let go of the sensational headlines, or they won't let go of this reality. Like, they just don't want to move right now. They just feel uncomfortable doing it. And so when we get to that stage and we don't have enough buyers and sellers, we have to say, rather than trying to motivate people, what if I just went and found the motivated? What if I just went and found people who had to buy, had to sell? Wouldn't that be easier? Now, instead of trying to convince people that this is the right thing for them, all we have to do now is step in and say, you know what? You're already motivated. Allow me to serve you. Like, it would be a much easier game for everybody. They're not feeling like we're trying to move them in a direction, steer them towards something that may not be in their best interest. And as a fiduciary, we aren't supposed to be doing that anyway. But when people already need us to help facilitate them, life gets a lot easier. Okay, life gets a lot easier. So we need to think about some of these people, right? Some of these industries. And you might be asking yourself, how do I do that? Okay, I'm gonna go as far as I can on this. And if anybody, again, we'll be communicating. For those that are listening to this, you can go to Instagram, send me a message there, or even on Facebook. Find me on Facebook, send me a direct message. Guys, I will help you as much as I possibly can. Okay, I'll absolutely love to help you. I have tons of people reach out to me all the time saying, Justin, how do I get unstuck? Right? And I literally give them my time without any strings attached. I just want to help people get unstuck in this market. Agents that want it deserve to be helped, and I'm here to help. Okay. Now, let me share with you an image here of how I uncovered how to access these people. Okay, if we've identified, okay, here's some people that we can really benefit. Here's some people that we can really help to, that are motivated, that need our help. But how do I get to those professional partners who can lead me to those people all day long? That one person who can get me 10 referrals a year, right? How do I find those people? I'd love to have a dozen of those, right? I'd love to have a couple of those, whatever it is. Okay. So how do we do that? By the way, if you're just joining us, guys, tell us where you're from. We'd love to kind of get a taste. I know we've had, looks like about double the people join in since I got rolling here. So if you're just joining us, let us know where you're from. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, so let me share with you a little story here. When I was a high-end home builder, right, 20 years ago, this was me. And I had a fishing pole, and I was trying to get my line in the water, yet all of these characters here were really good about saying, I got here first. I got here first. And they were doing a pretty good job of boxing me out, right? They had longstanding reputations. They had entire communities with their names all over it. Right? They just had a lot. They were further down the path than I was. And it was like, how do I even break into this? Okay. Well, I realized that this was super competitive down here. This is kind of like bloody water, because everybody's like feasting on each other's margins. Everybody's like, it's not a very fun environment to be highly competitive, and you're having to, right, lower your price to get in, right? Or drop everything over family dinner and rush to open a house because that's the only way to get in. Like, it's just kind of like the bloody competitive waters you don't want to be in. Where we want to be in is like the blue oceans, right? Kind of the beautiful blue waters up here. So what I decided to do was to walk up here and to add significant value. And there's a key in what I just said right there to this guy, because I knew that this guy could give me fish out of this stream before those fish ever even made it down to my competitors down here. Okay, that's the essence of the upstream model, book I authored. And the principles I'm sharing with you are exactly that, is that there is a way to get up here. If you can identify who this person was, for me as a high-end home builder, it was an architect. Architectural designers were building, or they were designing floor plans for their clients to go build a home. So of course they're going to need a builder next, right? If I go back to this page here, think about these people here. Many of these professionals are doing work for people. And as a result of the work that they're doing, they're going to need to be, these people, like their clients are going to need a real estate agent next. Okay. So once we identify who we want to work with, right, then we can get upstream and make connection there. Now, a couple keys on this. Okay. I don't want you to walk into this equation as a solicitor. So you say, oh my goodness, divorce attorney. Why didn't I think of that? Right? You just start cold calling them. You're going to be treated like a solicitor because you're acting like one. Okay. You need to seek a warm introduction. Go to a client who went through a divorce. Ask, was your divorce attorney a 9 or a 10? Were they awesome? They were great. Can I give you a few words to introduce me? Okay. Because I really want to specialize in helping people that have gone through that difficult thing. And I'd love to have somebody to whom I can refer, right? There's a big tip I just gave to you guys right there, right? Is the frame through which you walk into that professional's life will determine how much business you get from that person in the immediate future. Okay. Don't show up like a solicitor, be more strategic. Don't be lazy. Like actually strategically get a warm introduction to them that edifies you, that has that you positioned to be able to give them more than you are there to get. Okay. Another huge tip. And when you meet with them, be more curious about their business and how you can add value to their business than what they can do for you. Right? What was it? John F. Kennedy? Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That's the emphasis of the meeting with these people. And then you actually deliver that value. And then you actually deliver value to their clients through them, which puts you in every one of their client meetings without you actually being there. Okay. Those are the 5 simple steps to the upstream model that we teach, that we help our clients, that we coach them through that process. Okay. So instead of then having to have a large database, like normally, right? You think about it, you have a giant database, which equates at 10%, right? So you get 10% of the business out the other side, but you're having to make all of these, right? You're having to make all of these connections and relationships. It just takes so much time. You run out of time. Okay. But instead, right? Instead of doing that, you build a small database, or maybe in addition to doing that, you build a small database of upstream partners, key professionals who are positioned such that their clients are going to need a real estate agent next, which produces a large number of referrals. Okay. Telling you guys, there's magic in this equation. We're helping people unlock it every day. So rather than going out and hunting for golden eggs all across the land, you just go find a golden goose. You just go find a golden goose. And that is the secret, you guys. Once you have your foundational referral systems in place, okay, you can then spend the majority of your time working with people, working with professionals, adding value to professionals, adding value to their clients, and you get early introduction before your competitors even know that before your competitors even know that those clients exist. You're pulling them out of the water, out of the stream before they ever go down and start talking to any other agent. Isn't that lovely? So you spend all your time, right, working with golden geese, finding golden eggs. Okay. Now, I know I've gone through a lot and we're actually out of time, you guys. I've got another call I got to jump to shortly. But know this, that if you are tired of hearing people say, Justin, or whatever, right? I'm going to wait until next year, right? We're just going to wait. We're going to wait. Or your leads going cold. Leads aren't as strong as they used to be. Online leads, whatever. All right. Or your database not needing your help right now. It's because you're trying to motivate people. Stop trying to motivate people. Instead, go find the motivated. And better, go find people who can introduce you to the motivated all day long. Again, DM me slides on Instagram. Maybe put your email address in there as well. I'll send you the slides to today's presentation. And I'll even send you a link if you want to spend a couple minutes and I can help you unlock kind of what this might look like, slow it down a little bit. I'm more than happy to. So appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you, Jackie. Thanks for the love. In fact, if you found value in this, just put value, whether you're watching inside of the Facebook group or whether you're here inside of Zoom. Please let me know. It fuels me hearing that I added value to you, right? That's a core value of mine, is to impact and improve the lives of other people. So awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. I'm feeling the love, please, again, connect with me. Don't allow this just to be some idea of like, oh, that sounds like a good idea, but I don't know how to execute on it. That's what I do. I'll help you for free, right? I'll help you do it. So don't let this just kind of fall on excited ears that then turns into nothing. Allow me to help you. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate you being here with me, spending some time with me, and let's connect. Let me know how I can help you take the next step. Appreciate it, everybody. Talk soon, guys. See ya.